So I've noticed this thing you do whenever I have a little excursion planned for myself. You secretly go out and plan one for yourself. And it's not until I'm away, like in the case of this week, I was in Utah,
Where did I go?
Tampa.
Oh, okay. That was only, wait, you were back home though when I went to Tampa. Was it? No, you weren't. Oh,
No, you called
okay.
me and said, I'm going to Tampa tomorrow. And I was
Do I
like,
do that often?
you do it every single time. You match me trip for trip. Whereas when you go out of
Do
town,
I?
I'm just like, walking around in my bedtime shorts all day.
So I go when you go, but when I go, you stay. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
So you go when you go and you go when I go.
Oh, I go twice.
Yeah. So I have to factor that in whenever I'm doing a
Budget?
Yeah. Whenever I'm doing a budget for a trip, I have to factor in at least however many more hundreds of dollars for you to do your trip while I'm doing my trip.
I gotta think about this.
Very convenient.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, we mentioned it just a second ago. We are doing Ogden, Utah today, just outside of Salt Lake City. Let's roll.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skip Town All-Stars podcast.
What's up, All-Stars? Welcome back to another episode of Skip Town All-Stars. We are psyched to be coming to you today from the Podcast Doctor Studios in Orlando, Florida. What's up, Trixie?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
There was no traffic on the road today. It was such a nice drive.
It was,
Yeah.
for sure. And we are here with our good friend, Phil, the podcast producer. Say hello, Phil.
What is going on, guys? Today's going to be fun. And I don't know anything about Utah. I just know that it's kind of square, right? That's true.
It's kind of square.
It's kind of square.
In more ways than one.
All right.
But we're going to have a lot of fun today because there's actually a part of Utah that's very invigorating. Anybody who has listened to the show before knows that Salt Lake City is in my top 5 of places that I would think would make a great hometown.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's still there. But you have gone back to visit quite often.
I have.
And you've been there a little bit more than I have. And what I want to know about is the latest city you visited, which is Ogden, because you were there, I think it was 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and it was supposed to really explode. And here we are 3 years later, so I'm excited to hear. What do you like about Utah so much?
What do I like about
Because
Utah?
I have my thoughts on what I like, but what do you like?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I like. But first, I want everybody out there to like and subscribe and go to our page. I want you to subscribe on YouTube, but make sure you're following us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Every little like and subscribe means a ton to a little mom and pop shop like us.
It's true. It's true. I've said
Yeah.
it before. When I'm on YouTube and people are saying like and subscribe, I'm like, ugh, but now I know I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I used to do that on YouTube, not anymore. So yeah, and if you like the show and you're in the car, play it for a friend. Maybe they'll like it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to our regularly scheduled program, Ogden, Utah,
And what you like.
and what I like. Okay, so
Well, Utah in general.
what I like about Utah in general is it's gorgeous. Salt Lake City is surprisingly not as, like, everybody seems to think it's sort of this curmudgeonly, like, traditional conservative Mormon place, and it's absolutely not that at all. You have killer restaurants. You have the Utah Jazz if you want to go see an NBA game. The campus there, the University of Utah, I forget how many students are up to now, 40K or something like that.
40,000,
Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
They're always in the hunt for the Pac-12 championship. Not so much this year, but generally the last few years have been very successful for the program. There's a vibrance that exudes from the top of the hill where the campus is all the way down into the city below. The students, I love the fact that there is a young population there, there's an old population there. They have great medical facilities. Have I painted the picture?
You have, but I think the one thing you left out, there are a lot of tattoo shops.
There are
Okay,
a lot of
that
tattoo
is
shops.
not something
Yeah.
you would ever consider when you visit a city like Salt Lake.
Yeah.
You know, it comes to mind exactly how you painted the picture. As Phil said, you feel like it's very square-minded,
Yeah.
square-bodied, and then you land there, whether it's driving or I say land, figuratively,
Right.
not literally. And you're surprised at how many people have tattoos and how many tattoo shops and piercing shops there are.
Oh yeah.
And-
the minute you get there, you get a tribal and a mountain bike.
That is true.
Yeah.
Which one do you get first?
I'm not sure because we haven't moved there, but
I think it's the mountain bike.
I already have the ink, so I hope I get the mountain bike first.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fun times. So, as everyone knows, Mia goes there. We've done several Salt Lake City episodes. This time around, I wanted to revisit Ogden. And the reason for that is when Mia and I were touring her campus, I heard from multiple people
In 2020.
in 2020.
Yeah, right? It
that-
was a 2019.
2020.
Okay.
I heard from multiple people that Ogden was popping off.
I actually
And-
used that exact phrase with Phil. I said, "Oh, we're going to talk about Ogden because it's supposed to pop off." And he's like, "Really?"
Yeah. Was that news to you, Phil?
Yeah, it was news to him.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, so let me explain. When we went to visit, it was still sort of in a situation where the country was still reeling post-pandemic, right? And so in March of 2020, was it March of 2020? I'm forgetting my pandemic years.
March of
Oh,
2020 is
2021.
when it started.
I went there in 2021.
Okay.
In spring of 2021 when
Okay.
things started opening back up again. And when I got to Ogden, there was nothing open.
What made you even go?
Because like I said, when we got to Salt Lake City, everybody said, I told people like, well, my wife and I are maybe interested in relocating one day. And at least 4 people said, well, you should check out Ogden because even if you feel like the real estate is out of your reach here for what you want in Salt Lake City, it's only about 35 minutes up the road.
Got it.
Literally up the road. So it's north of Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, okay. So when Mia and I were done doing her campus things, I said, we have about 7 hours to kill. Let's go and visit this place that everybody keeps talking about. Well, we got there and we were quickly greeted with a rundown railroad town.
Are you serious?
Yeah, a lot of dilapidated buildings.
So where was this? Where was this happening in Ogden?
It was not happening at all. The only thing I saw really at the time we were there in 2021 was a bunch of construction trucks ripping up the main street area because I believe they were laying fiber.
Oh.
So
Well, that's a good sign, generally.
promising,
Right.
right?
When I think Ogden, I think of the IRS. Because they're out of Ogden. Like,
yeah.
remember? You would.
I did not. I had to be reminded of that when I was preparing for this
Oh, yeah,
show.
no.
I totally forgot.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, the IRS
Every
is
letter you get from the IRS, not every letter, but many letters you get, or any sort of correspondence comes from Ogden, Utah,
Yeah.
from the IRS. Yeah.
I know. Do you want to live that close to the IRS? I don't know. Whatever. But when you mentioned Ogden, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, the IRS. It's just not something you want to think about when moving to a city.
No, not at all. But at the time, it was so run down, and 3 years have gone by now, and I finally said to myself, you know what?
Yeah, because you're coming up on 3 years in March.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Let's see if there's been any growth.
Okay, I'm dying to know because we have not talked about this trip since you've returned because I wanted to hear about it firsthand here. And what's the growth?
I'm going to tell you in a minute, but let's talk about Ogden first.
Oh, all
I got a
right.
bunch of facts.
Leaving me on the edge of my seat.
I know. That's how I do it. Ogden, 35 to 40 minutes north of Salt Lake City, like I said. Population is around 87,000, so not a tiny town.
Oh, that's actually big.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty big area, too. It is located along the ridge of the Wasatch Front mountain range. It's gorgeous. I mean, this mountain is huge. The area below it is sloped, but flat enough where you can kind of see the entire town up against the ridge as you're pulling in.
That's pretty.
So, yeah.
So Ogden sits on the base of the mountain.
It does,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Sausage Mountain, that what you said?
Wasatch. So I think it's WASA. Oh, I have it here. Hang on. Where did I put
Sausage is so much better.
The Sausage Mountain
Sausage
is way
Mountain.
better.
Uh-huh.
That's what you
Let's
should
just
title
call
this
it.
episode, Sausage Mountain.
Okay, so that's what we'll call it. Wasatch, WASATCH, front.
I'll never be able to
Yeah,
think
now
of
it's
it the
just
same.
sausage front. I love it. So it was a railroad town. It was not historically known as being Mormon for that reason, because, all the rail workers coming in, they were just
Transient.
Yeah, yeah. So in many recantations of what Ogden was like early on, it sounds a lot like the movie the HBO series Deadwood.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like Lawless.
Brothels,
Almost like
saloons, you name it. Anything went.
in Ogden. So
In
Ogden was a naughty place to go.
Ogden was a naughty place. It was a gritty, grimy, blue collar rail worker place to go.
Okay. And
A lot of brothels and gambling halls lining what is now the cute little 25th Street district. That's their historic district right there. Runs right through town.
okay.
And among others, Brigham Young, naturally, Utah,
Yeah.
Brigham Young University. But Brigham Young was, he came in early and helped it develop into the railroad hub that it was.
But Brigham Young is not in Ogden, is it?
Brigham Young, the university?
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Okay. But he just came there.
Brigham Young's a dude.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the university because he came to Ogden, and I'm like, is the university near
No,
Ogden?
I think his thumbprint's all over that state.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was also a guy named William Glassman who became mayor around 1912. So for about 40, 50 years, this place was, a den of vipers, for lack of a better word. And this guy came in.
It's where all the Mormon husbands snuck away, like in the evening. They're like, I'm going to go over
absolutely.
to Joe's and we're going to play poker. They were heading to Ogden.
Yeah. So around 1912, William Glassman became mayor and helped clean it up by establishing the Businessmen's Protective Association. So basically,
What is that for?
It's all about commerce, and they got rid of all of the prostitution and gambling. He was
Oh.
Mormon. Glassman was Mormon. I
So
believe.
the Mormon mob.
The Mormon mob came in and took away everyone's.
That's
It
fantastic.
took away everyone's alcohol and coffee.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the story there. A stand-up kind of guy, it seems Glassman
Yeah.
was. He was probably like the teenager where
Don't do that.
other kids
Yeah.
came.
Don't- you
like
shouldn't
they're,
do
"Oh,
that."
Here comes Glassman. Put away the cigarettes or whatever. So anyway, tripping over my words. But, they all thought he was a stick in the mud
Oh,
when the
for sure.
gambling and the prostitution went away.
He clearly was. He
Yeah.
was no fun.
Yeah.
He was the fun stopper.
Yeah. So then World War II changed Ogden, and by like 1950, it became sort of an defense industry, a lot of construction going on,
Okay.
a booming sort of environment. As a matter of fact, Northrop Grumman is still there to this day. They have a presence. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think about 2,000 employees.
Oh,
So-
that's a large amount to bring into a town.
It is,
Yeah.
for sure. And so then with the addition of the highway connections, it continued to grow until the 70s.
Okay.
And Union Pacific Railroad and some other major companies in typical 70s fashion decided, you know what, we're shutting down or we're moving to some other place. Sound
Oh.
familiar?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all the steel workers that had
Yeah.
to leave small towns or
Yeah.
even larger towns. Yes.
Yeah. Ogden is not in the Rust Belt, I don't believe,
No.
but it's a very Rust Belt story.
Okay.
So
It
that's
is.
kind of the backdrop there. And then there was lots of decay and decline, a lot of crime.
But when
in
an industry like that leaves,
Yeah.
people generally don't come back. You're very hard pressed to move to an area that was once booming and now isn't. And
Yeah.
who wants to settle down in a place like that? So that's unfortunate. We see that across the board when we travel. Like,
yeah. I mean, Youngstown, Gary, Indiana.
Yep.
I mean, even Buffalo for a long time,
Yeah.
Cleveland.
So it sat pretty, I want to say empty, but not
I was
empty.
just on the decline for about
Decline.
15, 20 years.
Got it.
And
Okay.
then in the 90s, the citizens actually had to rally to save their downtown Egyptian theater, which I drove past.
Oh, okay.
Still there to this day.
Is it functioning? Is
Yes.
it functioning
Yep.
theater? What
They have
movie
all
was
kin-
playing?
Well, it's coming up on the holidays, so the Nutcracker is about to,
Oh, so they use it as a
happen there.
ballet theater.
Yeah, it's a theater.
Ah,
So
got
I
it.
think maybe they play
Oh, it's a
movies there,
theater with the ends in RE.
too. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So,
It's fancy.
yeah. And then in the mid 2000s, so we're getting closer to this is all leading somewhere. In the mid 2000s, an energetic mayor named Matthew Godfrey and other council members initiated redevelopment like a place called the Junction. It's a mixed use transit oriented village built on old rail yards with shops, eateries, pubs, residential spaces. And I drove past it. It reminded me a little bit. Remember when we were in Santa Fe? There was a section of town that we walked that greenway, that park or whatever, and there were it seemed like they were newly built, sort of industrial looking, like the whole work live space thing has been happening in this country for about 10, 15 years, 20 years. So
it's like lofts on top, stores on the bottom, that sort of thing.
It looked like okay, yeah, this was formerly industrial, but now it's cool, kind of thing. So
did you see a lot of artists walking around?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, okay. It's very it's a very hip area actually.
Okay, so we're getting there. Go ahead.
We're getting there.
I'm on the edge of my seat, waiting to hear about Ogden.
Yeah. So this mayor also helped convert a one-way street into a walkable boulevard.
Oh, that's always
linking
nice.
downtown to the Ogden River.
Okay.
And then there's an Ogden amphitheater now that wasn't there before. That concerts and all that. So I think in a few years you could probably go see Kesha or something.
Okay. Well, I don't listen to her, but okay, I might be able to actually see Bert Kreischer.
You probably would.
Yeah, because he always plays. No, but he does play off cities. He doesn't always play like your standard. He doesn't go to like only Dallas. He will go to a smaller venue.
Minor league baseball fields. I remember that,
it was So okay,
it does
not Kesha, but Bert Kreischer.
Okay, great. So today Ogden has several art walks, breweries, distilleries, both trendy and nostalgic restaurants. And
how is it different?
How is it different?
Than 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
I would say when Mia and I visited, there were probably 3, maybe 4 restaurants open on the historic 25th Street.
Uh-huh.
Now I think it's got to be at least 15, 18.
That's a huge leap for 3 years.
Dramatically different.
Should we buy a house?
Well, okay, so we're going to get to that in a second.
That's crazy. See, we always miss it. When people tell us, we don't listen.
Yeah. So a little bit. But I'm going to save that for the end.
This reminds me of Austin.
It does. It does sound like the beginning of an Austin.
Yeah. It's got to be. Yeah, I mean, we're talking Austin like 1997 at this point, just from like size and everything.
Yeah.
But potential, there's a lot of potential there. I mean, that mayor also helped rebrand Ogden as an outdoor recreation destination. And there are, I think, 36 something miles of hiking and mountain bike trails there now.
Wow.
Yeah. Or 36 miles of paved trails.
Oh, paved. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
that's actually really
doesn't
nice.
even count all the mountain bike trails and everything. And then to date, Ogden has about 28 small to large tech companies. And
what?
Yeah. Like smaller software. I saw one, I forget the name of it. It's a software where if you are in charge of your city's volunteerism or what have you, it's just a piece of software that you can use to track how your donations are going, how many hours people have volunteered.
And their company is in Ogden.
And the company's based in Ogden, yeah. That's just one out of however many. There's some larger
ones.
So it's
like under the radar, like a small it can turn into a small Silicon Valley.
Well, it's not under the radar because, let me flip ahead.
So the nerds have found this place and now they're taking over. Is that what you're telling me?
The nerds have found this place and taken over, and a bunch of outdoor people have found it too. Wall Street Journal.
Oh no, I can't hear this.
Named Ogden the center of outdoor sports gear in the United States, and also named it Utah's hippest city.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yep. So I looked around there about,
this makes me so mad right now.
There are like 10, 15 companies that make outdoor gear in this area. My favorite one is Stalker Outdoors.
Okay. How's it spelled? Stalker?
Yeah, just the way you thought. just the worst way possible.
That's an awful name.
Well, it's not, because they make e-bikes to go bow hunting. So.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so they make electric.
Okay. I'm going to tell you.
Come on. Here's where Denise comes in, and she's a purist hunter.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. Okay. I cannot believe you just said that, because that is exactly where I'm going with this.
I knew you were going to go there the minute I wrote this fact down.
If you're going to go hunting, get on those 2 feet and do the hard work. You do not take an e-bike. You do not. That is just wrong.
No shoes.
Wait a second. Hold on. You're talking to somebody who has no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so an e-bike is an electric bicycle.
Uh-huh.
So people are on an electric electric
With a
bicycle
bow and arrow.
with a bow and arrow trying to hunt deer and other animals.
Yes, that's exactly.
Yeah, that's
it.
cheating, bro.
That's
cheating.
It's totally cheating.
Agreed.
That's like giving your what? Just go take your Jeep.
It is
I'm
totally
with you.
cheating.
I'm with you.
In defense of Stalker Industries, I'm butchering their name right now. In defense of Stalker Outdoors, I went to their website. Their bikes are badass, man. They're awesome.
Here's what
You
I
gotta
want to
check it
know.
out.
Something happened with this company. Somebody had an idea.
Uh-huh.
You don't have an idea from nothing. So was there a hunter one day that said, oh, I'm getting tired of walking. I need a bike.
Well, my truck scares away all the deer, so what I need is a silent e-bike to get up the trail.
Okay, I'm just picturing Duck Dynasty on a bike. I'm just picturing Duck Dynasty.
These bikes are no joke. They're like $2,000 for just a two-wheeler, but I know you.
How are you going to carry the deer or anything else?
As I was just about to say, I know you. You like to have stuff. So there is actually a trike version for $6,000.
And does it pull a carriage or something or a trailer? It'll pull a
If you go on the
trailer.
website, Phil can confirm. If you go on the website, they actually do have add-on trailers that you can attach to the back of your tricycle.
I'm so against this on every single level. If you're a hiker, freaking hike and walk that trail.
I saw it. The bikes are camo for starters, or they're like the military black.
All right, you guys want to see the website?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
There we go. So go there and click on, I think it's the second from the left. Yeah, right there. That
Archery?
one.
No, down.
No, go down.
Mad
Down,
Bike?
right there.
Yep, right there.
All right, let's take a look. We're doing this live.
We're doing this live. So scroll down. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that awesome?
Okay, that's kind of cool.
And he has a trailer. He has a trailer. Look at the trailer he's pulling.
He has a trailer. He's got a trailer on the back of that thing. And then scroll down. Because then you're going to see the different models. They look awesome, don't they?
I know, just no.
And then
The
go
answer is
down
no.
and you'll see the tricycle.
You can't, like Phil
Look
said.
at that, babe. Two different tricycles. There's one with thin width, and there's another one with the thicker wheelbase. How about that?
I'm not buying it. If you're hunting, go hunt. You don't need a bike.
Okay.
I agree with Phil. It's cheating.
Okay.
Find me a
I think it's
hunter that's on a
badass.
bike. Find me a hunter on a bike right now.
We just saw one.
But like, are you supposed to?
And it's one of the most popular companies in Ogden.
How are you supposed to even do that? You're pedaling and then you just.
I agree.
Like that's.
No, it's just to get you up there. That's all. It's like so you're not exhausted and you actually have, a little bit of energy left to pull the bow.
Here's what I don't understand. Now we're going to go off on a tangent. Hunters, when they hunt and they kill something, let's just use a deer, for instance, because it's large.
Yeah.
They usually park their truck, I thought, near where they're going to hunt so they can drag the carcass
Reasonably
to the
near.
truck.
Yeah.
What do you do with this bike and the trailer? Even though it has a trailer, how do you drag a deer on the trailer? That trailer didn't look like super durable. It looked like,
I don't know exactly what kind of game they're hunting up there. I presume they're a deer.
you think it's just ducks or
No.
birds?
That's a big basket. That's a lot of ducks you're gonna take to fill that thing up.
I need more information.
No.
I need more information.
I bet it's deer.
Okay.
So, although it seems like it'd be big enough to just plus you have the hey, if you want to be an optimist and go out there with the full blown trailer and everything, you have that option. You're just going up the trail.
You know what? If you're going to hike, just hike.
Okay.
Not
they're
get
not
on-
hiking. They're hunting.
I'm sorry. If you're going to hunt, just hunt. Get on an e-bike.
All right,
Do
so-
not get on an e-bike.
All right, so let me get through the rest of Ogden, and then we can get to real estate and all that other stuff.
Okay.
So anyway, a lot of good things popping off there, right? A lot of good things happening. National Geographic magazine ranked it as a top 10 emerging ski town.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say, let's go to
So
Ogden.
now you want to talk investment, you're like, ski town. Ooh, wait, I'm listening. Growth over the past 3 years has been less than 1%. They did have a boom right at the start of the pandemic, but it seems to have waned, and I have my thoughts about that. Average household income, this varied wildly when I was looking. It's 51,000 to 76,000. I like.
That actually kind of makes sense because you have the artists who don't make much money, and then you have the tech people who make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good. I'm not surprised by that. Actually, is what I'm saying.
Poverty rate is 14.25%. I don't know if that's high or not, but it seems high to me. I don't know, 14% below the poverty rate.
In a state that's run with religious values, That's way high. They should be taking care of their people.
Oh, okay. Look at you.
I've always felt that way, though. There's a lot of homeless people in Utah, and I feel like, hey, if you're going to preach it, then do the work and take care of your people.
Yeah.
I think the national average for poverty is what?
You don't know.
I thought I did.
I don't know. You don't know. We're moving on.
Okay.
Median age. Median age there, though, and this explains the hippest, Utah's hippest city.
Oh,
and all
I think it's going to be young.
How old do you think? Guess.
The average age, 35.
Very good. It's 33.
Oh, I was really going to say 32.
And
if you want to know, I was going to say 32.
And when I was first visiting there with Mia way back when, I had to think about it when I saw this stat. And I said, oh my gosh, everybody who told me to go to Ogden
was young,
was under the age of 35. So, that totally tracks. Weber County sits at about 51% Mormon.
Okay.
So it's one of the least versus statewide. The average is 60%.
It's true.
Or above.
It's one of the that makes sense because like Provo is like 75%.
Oh, yeah. Southern Utah.
Yes.
Forget about it.
Salt Lake is probably higher than that. My guess is there's a lot of Mormons in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So it's the place to go if you're not a Mormon, is what you're saying.
Other than Salt Lake City, we've talked about before.
I know, but Salt Lake City probably I don't know. We don't know the numbers on that. But would say Salt Lake is higher than 51%?
I would imagine Salt Lake is lower than 51% at this point.
I don't know. Have to look it up.
Between the bazillion kids going there and
the university,
the people from everywhere else that have moved in.
Okay, so you have Ogden or Salt Lake.
Just a guess, yeah. 60% own their house in Ogden, 40% rent. Rent is about $1,300 a month for an apartment.
Okay, that's very reasonable.
Important, yeah. Median list price for a house is $450,000. It was 3 years ago, 4 years, and 5 years ago, 2018, it was $140,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It jumped $300,000 in 5 years.
Yep.
Okay.
But here's the thing. There are some downsides to the Ogden real estate market. Average listing is 70 days as of this recording, as we're recording today. So if you put your house on the market, you should expect to wait 2 months.
What's the average though? How often do people normally, or how fast do they normally sell their house?
That's the average, 70 days.
That's
the
no,
average.
just in general, like
on the average.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. We're probably a little spoiled. We came from Los Angeles where our house was on the market for 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
I think the average overall probably is, my guess, somewhere in the middle, probably like
about
3
30
weeks.
days, maybe?
3 weeks to
something like that.
I would guess 3 weeks to 30 days.
I don't know. That's a good question. We're gonna have to follow up on that.
LA was 2 days and over asking and multiple offers.
Yeah.
And our house was tiny. 1,600 square feet.
You don't need to say tiny like that so much.
Where's that money coming from?
You did very well for us. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I did not mean it like that. I'm just saying for the price it was. That's all. It was a very nice house.
Back to the homeless issue. Weber County homeless population actually decreased 15%.
Oh, they're taking care of their people.
From 2020 to 2022.
They're either taking care of their people or those people are leaving.
So you
it's
better
one of the
apologize
two.
to those Mormons in Weber County.
You know what? I will apologize when I know if the stat is they left because no one was taking care of them or they're being taken care of.
Oh, geez. Now you're qualifying. Let's move on. Touched by an Angel, that show.
Oh, it was a hit.
That I've never seen. It was a hit,
It's like 12
in the 1990s.
seasons or something crazy.
They filmed there several times in the 90s. HBO's Big Love, naturally.
The Mormon show.
Yeah, had filmed there. Several of their fictional businesses on the HBO show were filmed in Ogden. And finally, The Postman, starring Kevin Costner. Remember this movie? It was an apocalyptic thing where a guy still had to deliver the mail. I never saw the movie. I saw a lot of Kevin Costner movies. I never saw that one. That was also filmed there in the 90s.
Was that a comedy? I mean,
no.
It doesn't sound like
Here's your electric bill. I don't have a house.
Yeah. It's radioactive. I've got an arm growing out of my back, you loser.
Oh my God, that does sound like
Here's your
Yeah.
monthly subscription to Men's Health.
Yeah. Exactly. Well played, Phil. Well played. Okay, so popular dining and pub options downtown. The top three were Brico Gastropub, Lucky Slice Pizza, which was just opening while I was there the morning I visited. I did not get to check it out. Slackwater Pub and Pizzeria, Whiskey Street, Brewski's Bar, and Union Grill, just to name a few. That's your report on Ogden. So
How did you feel?
I felt, and this is the most important thing, I did feel at times like there has been enough change where I could live there. However, on a deeper dive on Zillow, I only found one property with 1 acre.
Oh, so they're all
And it
tight.
was $1 million.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah. There were
So they're all tight. They're all
there were
close
so
together.
many houses. There were
Okay.
so many houses.
So a lot of track housing.
A lot. I mean, it's like old, like the same kind of track housing you see in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
Like the cottages and everything that were
Yeah.
built. Here, though, because of the winter, they're brick. A lot of them are brick. So small lots, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath for $300, $350, something like that.
That's expensive.
Tiny. I mean, so it's, for me, that knocks me out of the box.
No
I couldn't
property.
live there, no property.
Not even
It's
a
great that the community is making a bounce back and everything. There was a Santa's Village. It looked really cute.
Aw.
So a lot of kids will have a great Christmas there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to like about that community, especially if you're younger, you're outdoorsy. You only plan on having 1 kid. You don't need a 4-bedroom house, a 3-bedroom house. You don't need an acre. You don't care about that. Great place. Highly recommend. There seems to be a lot going on.
Seems expensive. I don't know if I highly recommend. For a 2-bedroom, 1 bath at $400,000, that sounds insane.
Well, I didn't say that specifically. Like, you may be able to do better there. It just depends on how old the house is. You're definitely going to find more bang for your buck, just like everybody told me in Salt Lake City, in Ogden, versus trying to find the same exact house in Salt Lake.
Okay, so there's no property. The houses aren't very big, and the house prices start at like $300,000.
Yeah,
This sounds like Austin. This
does sound a
literally
little bit.
sound like
yeah.
it's so hard for me to wrap my head around these numbers.
Yeah.
How do young people afford this?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you go to Salt Lake now, the same house is going to cost you $500,000.
Yeah.
So, and it's like if
I
you
know.
drive around Salt Lake, the lots are just as big. The houses are just as big or small.
I got a question for y'all though.
Yeah. go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I want to add a segment to the show. Is how many people look like me over there?
That's a good
Oh,
segment.
that is a good question.
That's a good
I'm
segment.
glad you asked, Phil.
Yes.
Here we go. White alone, non-Hispanic is 46.5% of the population.
Non-Hispanic.
Yeah.
So that's white
so
people.
Just white is white on rice.
Okay. I know. Okay. And then
And then Hispanic Latino is 32%.
wow.
And
Wow.
the rest are other minority groups. One thing, Phil, that you probably don't know about Utah is there are a lot of people of the Pacific Islander culture in Utah that are actually Mormon. You see a lot of Hawaiian kids or Polynesian kids playing for Brigham Young, occasionally University of Utah, all
It's true.
the Utah states or whatever. And that is because of all the missionary work that the Mormons have done in those regions of the world over the years. So not uncommon at all.
I like that segment. And in answer to that, I've not seen very many black people in Utah. The only black
In
people
Utah-
I
in
saw
Salt Lake?
in Salt Lake. Did you see black people in where were we?
Well,
Zion?
this is just how many look like me. This
Zion.
isn't how many black people has James seen.
Did you see?
I see a lot of black
I saw no
people.
black people in Zion. I saw no black people in Salt Lake. The
Wait,
only black
this
people
is,
I
This
saw.
is the Ogden episode. This is not Zion.
I know. Where he asked the question. Okay, in Ogden, did you see any black people
Black
personally?
folks don't go vacation in the desert. Like only white people do
know.
that. That's
We
why
do-
they have mountain bikes.
we do
with
stupid
trikes
stuff. We do
and
stupid stuff.
trailers. We do. We do weird stuff, right?
Yes.
Admit it. You can say it in front of me. You're not going to hurt our feelings.
No, we do weird stuff. Okay,
We know.
go back to the question at hand. He wants to know. Any people like him?
I mean, I did see black folks. I didn't go to any restaurants while I was there or anything. I did stop
Walking around the
I
streets.
stopped. Yeah, a few black folks. That's it. I would say it probably runs the national. What's the national average? Is it like
The
13%?
13%, yeah.
13%. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So you saw 2 black people.
so maybe 8%. Okay.
You literally saw 2
maybe
black
less
people.
black folks than the average American city.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's not as white as you thought it was going to be.
Not with. I have to tell you, I'm very surprised about Hispanic and Polynesian, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did a post one time about Salt Lake and the hotel that we stayed in. And somebody commented who's from the Dominican Republic. Yeah, I don't see very many people like me there. What could I say? I was like, yeah, you could be right. But
Yeah.
all right. So Ogden.
Interesting place. Definitely if you're an outdoors person.
Okay, arty, techie,
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Perfect. Go move.
Yeah, totally. So I don't know. I think that's going to do it for Ogden. What do you say?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. You got something you want to talk about?
Do you have something you want to talk about?
I do, but I've been talking for a while, so let's get to your topic.
Okay. So speaking of houses and housing, I was thinking about this the other day because someone had asked me about our home in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about how long it took to sell, the price we sold it for, the people we sold it to. And I made a comment, and I wonder how you feel about this. I said, after selling that house, I learned a lot. And one of the things I learned is I don't think I would necessarily go for top dollar in my next home sale.
What does that mean? You wouldn't want to sell your house for as much as you could possibly get?
Versus a wonderful buyer, meaning that they're going to love your house. They're going to take care of your house. They're going to treat it the way you did. Because since we sold our house, it's been robbed twice.
It has.
That sweet house.
Yeah.
All the beautiful, beautiful.
They tore out all the landscaping.
all the beautiful.
Yeah.
It wasn't even money spent. It was
They
years.
just let it go, yeah.
Years of me cultivating the front yard, the backyard, spending hours and hours buying plants, planting every Mother's Day. Okay, this is
Every
going to
Mother's Day.
turn into a therapy session.
Yeah.
And
I can play some music if some,
I think
some
you
sad
should,
music.
because there's a tear.
Something.
A tear is going to start.
Find
rolling down.
something melodramatic.
A
in the
violin.
PFC. Start crying.
Everything died within 3 weeks. Everything. We're talking thousands of dollars, even though I said it
Yeah,
wasn't
if you
money.
don't water it,
thousands
it
of
dies.
dollars and years in the making. We
Yeah.
turned that into a backyard oasis.
We did.
They killed everything. That hurt. My daughters cry. They see it on TikTok because somebody that bought it is on TikTok. My daughters cry when they see the house. They don't even want to drive by it. The front yard grass is dead. I look on Google, satellite
God. You're
once in a
stalking their
while,
old
a
house.
little bit. I want to see if they are taking any better care of it since everything was dying and robbed. They're not. So
They're not really. Is
no,
it
it
still
looks
under
the
construction
same.
or what?
It was the inside was under construction. The outside was not under construction. They just remodeled something in the inside.
They didn't even put like a desert yard in or anything.
No, the grass is brown.
drought-free yard.
No, the grass is brown. So all that to say,
That's
it
drought-free in
doesn't.
a
You
way.
know what though? The money that they paid, the money that the girl paid,
Uh-huh.
and we enjoy that money, and we've enjoyed it. We bought another house.
Yeah, we have.
I think I could have taken less and sold it to the family that had the son that wanted the guest house for their son. It was $100,000 less their offer.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's
I thought
lot
about
of
this a
money.
lot. But I've thought about this
That's
a lot.
generational wealth for some families.
Can I ask y'all a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
2 questions. The person who purchased your house, were they a millennial?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
32 years old.
Second question. Why do you care? You're not going to go back there and hang out.
Thank you, Phil.
Okay, you know what? It's something about raising your kids in a home and living there for 20 years. And I don't know if you remember, but James has a friend who moved from Ventura County, which is Northern California,
Yeah.
and he moved to Washington. And he would drive back and just go by his house once in a while when he was visiting Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It pained Russell. He said he
Yeah.
saw how poorly they were taking care of their house. And it's weird. Russell got top dollar too. My brother and sister-in-law sold their house here in Florida, got top dollar for it.
Yeah.
2 years later, the roof was caved in.
I remember your brother told me. Yeah.
All the hard work, the beautiful ceramic tile broke in. The house went into foreclosure. They trashed it. They ripped out the cabinets. I know you get that money and you spend it and you're happy to spend it. But there is this part of you that, well, for me, okay, I'm obviously talking about me because you're just happy to get the top dollar.
I mean, it sucks, when you see it or when I heard the story that, okay, so Phil, just to bring you up to speed, because you don't know the story, the house was robbed twice while guys were doing construction because
No.
No. Yes.
That's actually not true, James. It was robbed while she was on tour and the house sat empty with no curtains on the
because
front
there were
windows.
construction workers coming and going.
Nope, they
On
were not.
tour, you sold your house to Kesha?
We did sell our yes to Kesha.
We can't say who we sold it to because
Why not? The ink's dry.
No, we can.
I'll find her. I'll find it on TikTok.
Because when we was in closing, my daughter posted something on her TikTok, and then lawyers came after us and immediately deleted it and said it's a security issue for this girl. Anyway, the house was not under construction when it got robbed. Do not say that. The house had already been. I know this because the neighbors call me. You don't talk to them.
It was the construction workers who knew how to get in and out of the house. You think you're Columbo, and that you know was the construction workers. You because
do
they were
not
going
know
out
that.
of the back gate, and nobody knows. Okay, go
They
ahead.
could have broken it.
Let me hear the story that I don't believe at all. Go on.
The house was robbed twice, but you're saying it's the construction workers when there was no construction. The house was sitting empty.
There were no curtains. There were no blinds. There was no alarm system.
Okay, who cares?
Everybody, because you could see it was a gallery.
Okay.
It was like free appliances,
it was robbed
everybody.
twice. What's your point? It was robbed twice.
My point was
if we
nobody,
had sold it to the family with the nice son, it wouldn't have been robbed twice. The yard would not have burnt. The flowers in the backyard wouldn't look like. It looks like
agree.
Total cement despair backyard. Like she ruined it. The pool was green in her TikTok.
Okay, you gotta
the
let it go.
pool was green.
You gotta let it go because you know.
So you're happy to get top dollar.
I mean we had we
so
invested some money and we've been able to travel and start a podcast. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm pretty damn happy with our decision. Yeah.
Selling again. Let's say we sell another house again. Would you go for top dollar or a person?
I'm a complete and total whore. Yes, I will.
Maybe it's because how long did you guys live there?
20 years.
Yeah, so I don't have any sentimental value on any of the homes I ever lived in because who cares? It's a house to me, you know.
Yeah.
But you guys made your house a home because you guys raised 3 kids, and so I completely understand.
Phil, just stop it. You'd still go for top dollar.
But I absolutely would go for top dollar because I'm not moving back to that. It's gone. It's done. They can destroy it, turn it into a 7-Eleven. I don't care. Put a highway over it. This isn't up.
I know. And I said that too. I am understating the sentimental factor because it does disappoint me that the backyard looks ratchet.
But you got pictures, so you're good.
Yeah, we got pictures and we have our own memories and all that other stuff. But the bottom line is, even if we went back to LA, we wouldn't be going back to that house. So
okay, I did say to Ellie, the person that bought this house could literally burn it to the ground. She paid top dollar over asking cash.
Yeah.
She could burn it to the ground. But honestly, in my heart of hearts, I would wish I had sold it to the family with the boy that wanted it as a guest house. Like I just think to myself, for $100,000 less, they would have taken very good care of it. The pool wouldn't have turned green. The yard wouldn't be brown. It wouldn't have been broken into 2 times.
You're not wrong.
I'm not going to do that again. So you and I are going to have to, on our next sale.
Then you're going to have to start your own bank account.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to buy your own properties, and you have to have your own
and I'm
going
to
to
sell them to really nice people.
You go ahead.
So the way my mind works sometimes, and then I don't know if anybody watching thinks like this. Do you guys believe in everything happens for a reason?
I do. He does not.
Okay, so I'm kind of both sides of the fence here, right? Maybe this leads on a little spiritual side, but you said the house was robbed twice, right? Because no one was there. If that family was there and someone was actually robbing the house while they were there, something catastrophic could have happened.
It's a good way to look at it, Phil.
Yeah. But so maybe you selling that house to the influencer or Kesha and she not being there, that house was going to get robbed regardless of who was going to be in it. So maybe because the family was not in there, and that could have prevented something catastrophic from happening.
To your point, that's one of the reasons we left LA, because for the longest time, Denise didn't feel safe. Even in our quiet little neighborhood, it was still Los Angeles. You know, good and bad elements were able to access our neighborhood within 2 or 3 miles. And, it's one of the reasons we sold it. It could have been robbed while I was in the back house on a Zoom, you know?
I'm going to submit my invoice to Phil for the therapy session.
Okay. Good.
I am a doctor.
All right.
True. Okay.
All right. So I want to move on to a more important topic, and that is Cynthia Nixon.
Okay.
Do you know who Cynthia Nixon is?
Is that from Sex and the City?
It is.
Wow. Yeah. You know who that is. Okay. I think you have to let everyone know who this woman is because no one's heard that name in 20 years.
I know. And I had not either, except recently on Huffington Post, which is actually the topic of my discussion here. Cynthia Nixon, there was a story that Cynthia Nixon was joining a 5-day hunger strike and calls for a permanent ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war.
Okay, well, she's going to die because she's already 25 pounds. So if you've ever seen her prior to this hunger strike, she's a toothpick. So
Is she
she's
really?
dead. She's not even alive
Well,
right
she's
now.
like 6'7".
Yeah, she is. She's literally 6'7" and like 25 pounds. So she's dead now.
No,
How
wait,
many
she's
days?
that tall?
She's tall. She's tall.
She's like
tall.
5'11".
Yeah,
Really?
she is. Uh-huh.
I
And
never
she's
realized
like-
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's
I
she's
mean,
dead.
Not a fan of the show. So, I mean,
You're gonna be reading
nothing
her-
against the show, just never watched it. Yeah, she was, she announced her protest alongside other activists calling for a ceasefire this past Monday in the White House. Says, as the mother of Jewish children whose grandparents are Holocaust survivors, I have been asked by my son to use any voice I have to affirm as loudly as possible that never again means never again for anyone. My discussion
I have
is
so
this.
much to say about this. You go
Me
first.
too. Two things. Number one, I'm not sure what a 5-day hunger strike is going to do for anyone, especially when you're, I want to say, still an actress or a former actress, or maybe an entertainer who's not as much in the spotlight, right? And we get this all the time during, all of this country's discord during the 2020 and all that. A lot of athletes, LeBron James was one of them, came out and everybody just said, shut up and play basketball and all that, like all the right wingers and all that other stuff. But in this particular case, I kind of think if I were a right winger reading this story,
Who cares?
I'd kind of be like, yeah, just shut up.
Yeah.
Seriously, 5 days.
I just think to myself, when celebrities use their platform inappropriately, it's such a waste of a platform. First of all, Cynthia Nixon, nobody even knows that name. I mean, we do because we know.
Well, we're Gen Xers, so everybody knows that
and
name.
Phil
I know.
does because Phil wasn't watching Rocky. He was watching Sex and the City.
That's right.
I have a wife. She loves that show.
So,
Admit it, Phil, it was you.
I did watch both seasons of the new one.
It's okay. I watch what's that show I watch? Big Little Lies. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I cannot. Have you watched that show on
No.
HBO? I'm totally off subject here. I watched both seasons. Denise dipped out and I was
Yeah.
like, I can't wait to see what these do next.
Is that cheating? Because like if y'all pick a show together, you have to watch the show together. You can't like skip ahead.
Yes.
Or that's like
It
that's like
is.
cheating, right?
Oh yeah, but I dropped out, so it wasn't cheating because he continued. Now, if we're still together and he watches a show before I do, that's cheating. But since I dropped out, we're fine. It's all fair.
But she watches shows before me all the time. Like if I'm working or
do.
something, she's like, you know what? I'm not waiting. And I know you're just not going to watch it tonight. You're going to be too tired. So I'm just putting on. And then 5 episodes later.
Oh, I have a confession. So my wife and I, we have our shows, right? And sometimes she's really busy, and I will
Sneak.
watch. But here's the thing that's really bad. I will place the tracker back to where we left off.
That is so deceitful.
So I'm like, I have no
That-
idea what's happening.
You know what?
Okay.
I can tell you point blank, if I were to get caught doing that, that would be worse than having an OnlyFans account in my house.
You cheated on
Denise
a
would be
show.
so mad.
Well, Phil, then do you act surprised in the moments you were supposed to act surprised that you originally act surprised in because now you're playing it back and you're sitting with her?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm a great actor.
Not anymore, Phil. The cat's out of the bag.
But so going back to that really quick, there's so many things that going back to who Cynthia Nixon is, and she's not a household name anymore.
Here she is on the screen.
Thank
she
you.
is.
Yes. So she could have used that platform to volunteer somewhere. She could have been working for UNICEF. She could have been, doing some rallies in her local town, wherever it is. I don't know I think she's a New Yorker. Really, a hunger strike, that's where you're going to take your platform, a hunger strike. Like, I wonder, because she's not working, does she not have a publicist anymore? Like, somebody didn't tell her, bad idea.
I heard she's
Like,
doing it.
donate
It
your
sounds like
time
she's
at a
doing it at the
temple.
behest of her son, who's like,
Yeah, go donate your
have
time at a
platform.
temple. Yeah, do something. A hunger strike?
I
A hunger
respect
strike.
the fact that she wants to do something about it. And this is not about the Israeli-Hamas conflict. It's not about Palestinian. Like, it is.
No, it is.
Her story is. I'm saying my take on this has nothing to do with that. Like, I think it's an important subject. Don't get me wrong.
I just said that she used this platform inappropriately. What I'm saying is she could have used it for this topic better. I just said she could donate her time at a temple.
Yeah, I know you
she
said
could
that.
work for she could volunteer for UNICEF. She's going to go on a hunger strike. Like, this is dumb.
Yeah. But
What is it? Who does it benefit? Who's benefiting? Nobody even knows who she is. Like,
right, it
it's
seemed
so-
a little attention grabby to me. That was all. It was like she's like, hey, look, I'm standing up for this, and
I'm going to not eat.
yeah.
How about
So-
I'm going to donate $1 million to the cause? That is doing something.
Well, you gotta have $1 million.
Okay. Okay. Her 40,000. okay, I'm donating 40,000 to this cause.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I mean,
look,
Sean Penn makes a statement. Jennifer Garner makes a statement. These are all people that are do-gooders. You go like this to Sean Penn. Like, you know what, COVID, he was helping like get vaccines to
he
California.
was, but then like Sean Penn of all people, like randomly shows up in a war zone somewhere. And it's like,
Okay.
what is Sean Penn doing?
Yeah, he's
right
like
now?
filming it.
Yeah. It's like,
Okay.
why are you here right now, Sean Penn?
Okay, but he does things. He
Yeah.
actually does things. During
I
the
don't know.
Hurricane Katrina, he was there, boots on the ground. I don't know, like
Sure.
really a hunger strike, Cynthia Nixon. Do something better.
All right,
You-
well-
have
you're
y'all
better.
heard
Do
of the
better.
term virtue signaling?
That's the term I was looking for. That's exactly it. I've read that before.
Oh.
Virtue signaling.
I think I know what that means by the words, but explain it.
It's kind of like remember there was like a supermodel during the George Floyd protests and all that, and she was standing out there
Yeah.
in like
remember.
runway gear,
holding up
and-
her sign.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was just
It's
an
like-
Instagram moment.
Exactly.
So it's virtue-
it's like a photo op or virtue signaling.
Look at me, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
But
it's
you don't
like-
really care about the cause.
Yeah, and it's usually encased in a layer of like, this is so sad, this is happening, but look at me, I'm paying attention to it.
Or someone taking a selfie while donating money to a homeless person.
Yeah, exactly. Like every single politician we know.
Yeah, that's
So-
virtue signaling.
Good point.
So my other 2 points are I could certainly probably benefit from a 5-day fast. So maybe I should find some political conflict.
Okay.
Yeah, I could lose a few
I'll
pounds.
record it for you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. And the bigger topic, though, is, I found this on Huffington Post, and I'm sure it was in other, outlets as well. But Huffington Post is this weird thing. Like when it first started, Ariana Huffington, right?
Oh, she used to be good.
Yeah, she was such a journalist, and it's like I go to Huffington Post now, and in the midst of seeing these Cynthia Nixon type stories, you have like, I'm a gay sheep herder, and
I'm going to cut that.
I know that's the clip. I'm a gay sheep herder. No, it's like I'm a gay sheep herder, and let me tell you how
It's
cured
turned
my alcoholism. Or you get like, I found out my parents were really my aunt and uncle, and it totally cured my OCD.
It's turned into like the London Sun or the National
It's
Enquirer.
the weirdest stories on there. Like their personal. If you dip into their personal stories,
it's
that's
like-
and I hesitate to say because like you can write those and submit them yourself, Phil. If you wanted to write such an article, you could. I'd say use as much word salad for your headline as you can because that seems to be what resonates and gets you on the front page. But I don't think you get paid for that. But so I would say we should do a Skip Town All Stars travel blog and try and get it on Huffington Post. We wouldn't get paid, but I'd be curious to see like what we could put in there
I think
to make it onto the front page would be fun.
Oh, the three of us can come up with some really good, crazy
You should.
stories.
Yeah.
I went to Ogden and counted all the black people on one hand.
That's it.
That
You
cured my
already-
cavities.
He catches on quickly.
Oh, we're going to be a hit on Huffington Post.
We are. So anyway, I don't know. That's the thing. I've just like do you know Drudge Report, Phil?
Of course, yes.
Okay, good. So, but you worked in media. Not everybody your age knows Drudge Report.
No.
Maybe you do because we talked about this in our last episode. You weren't really kids of the Cold War, which is why you never saw Rocky IV.
No.
No, Rocky. Any Rocky.
Any-
He never
any
saw
Rockies.
any Rockies.
But
Zero Rockies.
But you were more kids of like the Iraq War and 9/11 and all that other stuff, right?
Correct.
So naturally, that's the lens through which you see sort of American conflict or whatever. But I don't forget
The Drudge Report.
Oh yeah, the Drudge Report. And so
Waiting.
and so anyway, the Drudge Report like blew up after 9/11. Like it was.
What is the Drudge
I
Report?
shouldn't
Can
say
you
that
please-
word.
can you
Drudge
please-
Report is a website launched by Matt Drudge right around the time of it wasn't 9/11. It was the Clinton impeachment trials.
Okay. Is he a conservative or
He's
a
historically
liberal?
mostly conservative.
Okay.
But sort of couched in, they play it both ways, but leaning conservative for sure.
Okay.
Was definitely on the war path to get Clinton out of office at the
Okay.
time. So
why do you bring
was
this up?
definitely because Huffington Post is now Drudge Report. Like it's the same
liberal.
thing. If you Yeah, ultra liberal, of course, and that's fine.
Did the
but,
Drudge
but
Report
even
have
the
stupid
layout,
stories?
Like if you look, yes, absolutely. So if you lay out one versus the other, the only thing different is the font. It's like Huffington Post uses red hat headlines now, like Drudge Report used to do, blue text. Like it's weird. It's the weirdest thing.
So
It's
Drudge Report was conservative and had crazy stories, and the Huffington Post is like leans liberal and has
Huffington
crazy
Post
stories.
is a new Drudge Report. That's the moral
for the
of the story.
liberals.
Yes, honey. Yes. For the
Because you're
liberals.
just
You said it
saying
3 times.
Because you're saying just Drudge Report. I'm like, no, it's conservative.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying thematically, aesthetically,
Got
it's
it.
the same.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
And that's why you get these stories, because they are ultra liberals. So Cynthia Nixon had her moment last week. That's all I got. Done. I got that off my chest.
I'm glad you did too.
You ready to wrap this up?
I am.
All right. Take them out.
Empty nest, full tank.
See you guys next week.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.